Hello and welcome to On Second Street, where today we're going to be talking about living healthy, in particular what we eat and getting enough exercise. The reason why we're doing this show, of course, is that it's the beginning of the year, and when we hit January, many of us set New Year's resolutions to eat healthier and exercise more. But a couple weeks in, maybe a month or so in, many of us fall off the bandwagon. So we're going to be talking with a couple experts who have some thoughts around how we can actually stick to these plans. And first up, we have John Westen, who is the chair of the Canadian Health and Fitness Institute. John, thank you for taking a few minutes to chat with us today about this important topic. I wonder if you could maybe just talk about the broad strokes as a society. How are Canadians doing overall when it comes to getting enough exercise?
Well, Colin, first let me say I think you're humble. I think the organization should be First Street because you're doing such a fantastic job in promoting health and fitness for Canadians. The reason I think it's important is that as somebody who's been in public life, I served as a member of parliament and continue to write in the Globe and Mail and other forums about big issues that occupy the headlines. My sense is that our ability to deal with the big issues and our ability to deal with housing and employment and raising families really amounts to the vigor and vitality of the individual. And I believe that as a nation, we're declining. We've seen, for instance, a doubling of the rate of obesity or overweightness for young people over just 2 generations. We know that something like 80% of Canadians don't get the 150 minutes a week that's prescribed as just basic minimum for physical activity. And so those things have led to heightened diabetes, cardiovascular disease issues. Loneliness has been declared an epidemic by the US Surgeon General, who says it amounts to something like 14 cigarettes a day if you're lonely. And that leads to depression and mental health issues, which are truly expanding. So I do believe we need a cultural shift, and that's why I devote my volunteer time to chair this foundation. And I'm delighted that there are kindred spirit organizations like Second Street that are promoting that message.
Well, yeah, thank you for the compliment. We should note that I didn't pay you to say that, so I appreciate that. But I think it's really important because you look at the consequences down the end of the line in the healthcare system when people develop diseases and all kinds of problems. I mean, those are very, very costly to address. So I always think it makes sense to, follow that problem all the way up the chain to see about prevention. You mentioned 150 minutes. Can we talk about general guidelines? Is that sort of the recommendation for the typical adult, is you should get 150 minutes a week? Is that right?
Public Health Agency Canada has set some sort of arbitrary number. It's good to have something like that because really in setting your personal physical activity goals, it's about consistency. It's not about intensity. So for the average Canadian to set a goal with some sense of purpose, to be accountable to somebody, and that's really something that makes it fun and exciting, and to have some consistency. So make sure that it's woven into the schedule. And I mentioned accountability. I'm sitting in a gym that was designed by my wife, who is a personal trainer. Not everybody is going to go out and marry somebody who they want to be accountable to for their physical activity guidelines, but it helps to be accountable to someone. There's a couple of great books that your listeners might be interested in. This one, Younger Next Year, the theme throughout the book is about having somebody to exercise with. And you'll find in another book that's more recent, very popular, Outlive, that theme continues. If you're part of a group, if you sign up to be somewhere doing something at some time on a regular basis, you're way more likely to be there than if you're trying to be accountable just to yourself.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point. That gets at the other issue that you raised, and that's the aspect of loneliness, right? If people are part of a team or a regular exercise group, even if it's just one other person, then you can see how that accountability aspect would help, but also that sort of opportunity to socialize with others. When we come back, I want to chat a little bit more with you, John, about tips for how people can stick to exercise, but also the government's role in all this. We'll be back in just a moment.